So today on Diving Deep with Doctor Seaweed, I'm with Nic Lewis, who's the founder of This Girl Can Organise. And we're going under the surface with Nic to talk about how wellbeing is affected by organising and how letting go of things can be emotional but very helpful, and also how leaving a career to do something more purposeful is part of Nic's story. So have a listen and please follow and subscribe if you want to hear more of these conversations. And here's a quick look at what's to come.
When you start to look around and you're starting to see clutter, that's alarm bells, right? So straight away, for me, if I was to give advice to you, would be you haven't got a home for those items. That is protecting you from being something that you potentially don't want to be. It does become that way in an office. An office space at home is probably one of the most cluttered spaces because practicality over perfection. I mean, another annoying thing is showing your boarding pass when you're buying stuff all the time. Don't you find that annoying? I've got a feeling, Dr. Craig, that you might end up emptying some of them boxes and your office space might be re-evolving this year. I'll tell you what I do really love to go through is my underwear drawer. I love to see that looking fantastic. Hi, I'm Nic Lewis from This Girl Can Organise, and I'm diving deep with Doctor Seaweed.
So, hello, Nic. Lovely to see you.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Well, actually, for January, doing surprisingly well. I'm wintering very well. Just trying to, love wintering. Oh my gosh, it's the latest craze. Yeah, it's just slowing things down a little bit, to be honest with you. Not putting too much pressure on yourself, especially in January. That's a no-no.
You're bringing a lot of brightness and joy. Let's start, because we met 2.5, 3 years ago. I can't even remember now. And you came up here and we had an amazing day on the boat. We had a proper wellness day in the spa. We did breath work. You went in the North Sea for a sea swim, I think the first one.
Never thought ever happen.
Are you happy to just tell us a bit about what you do and why you do it?
I have a page called This Girl, or business called This Girl Can Organise, and I love to help people who find decluttering and organising overwhelming, or they just don't have the time to do it. And I love to listen, but I love to give practical advice because I feel like I learned this advice from my parents and obviously from some of the skills that I've done in the past. And I just think some of the systems I've got in my home are just, I've been doing them forever. And I think, well, if that works, that must go to help others in their own homes. And I just found that there was no one else doing something like that kind of personal service. So I thought, yeah, and that's what I do. I love it.
How do you feel physical space affects our emotional well-being, our mental health?
Massively. Our mental health really dictates what our surroundings are like. So if they're calm, if they're surrounded by the things that we like, then we're happy. For example, when we're on a holiday and we go into, for example, a hotel room, it's calm, it's chilled, it's styled nicely. Pretty empty, to be honest with you, and we just are like, oh, look at this. It's probably one of the most captured moments on social media is walking in to that space. And if we could actually encompass that into our homes, that same feeling of showing off, like, oh, look at my space, it looks so lovely, then that would completely turn around how you feel about walking into your home and how it would feel on you as well.
And it's not just about clutter, is it? It's not just about chucking stuff out. It's more about organising and having that space.
Yeah, so it's a mixture. So obviously in the name, it's This Girl Can Organise. I do love to organise quite a vast amount of things, but decluttering is a really important stage before you go to organise. You must always declutter first before you organise. And decluttering is quite interesting, actually. It's a whole another chapter of letting go, why we keep hold of things, why we find it difficult to let go, and how it makes a difference when you do let go. It's kind of like a up and down kind of wave, really.
And
Um,
it doesn't work just one time. I mean, like you can't. Could you go organize someone's house and then leave, or does it require like routine, rhythm?
it requires managing, maintenance. Like in your own home, you have to manage um, what comes into your space. And I kind of do that every quarter or season, I like to call it. Because if you think about it, every season, something new comes into your home. And often enough, um, we're always kind of getting to a stage. Generally, it happens at the end of a season. We're really overwhelmed with lots of stuff and we want to have a really big clear out. So forget spring cleaning, it's seasonal editing. And keeping on top of that, managing that is like managing your nest. Um, and it just doesn't become a task, it just becomes part of the process of living in your space.
And how then? Because I imagine some people it can become obsessive or like striving for perfection. And as I say, like perfection's the enemy of good. So how do you, you know, how do you manage people's need for perfection? Because you live in your home, it's not
Mm.
just to always look pretty, I assume.
Well, I don't really get many requests for perfection, to be honest with you. And I think that's mainly because on my socials, you don't see perfection. Um, and what is perfection, you know? And I practice practicality over perfection. So if someone wants something a certain way, we talk it through, we listen to each other. I understand a little bit more about their lifestyle. I would give them the advice on if that's going to work or not. And then we proceed. And actually, it works out to be perfect in their own way or in their own right, because it's exactly how they want to live their life.
Is there anything that you or clients you can talk about, like one thing that you've organized that's like massively impacted how you perceive life or it's had a big change?
Oh God, there's been so many. There's been so many times I've come out of clients' homes really like I've not been able to talk. Most of the times I drive home with the windows down, no music on. It's a very different to how I start the day with music blaring and like woo 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 and dancing. I think it's because I kind of have to let go of the energy for one. And then I'm processing the actual story, the actual life of that person and what we've actually gone through, encountered. Um, I think, I mean, there has been so many. I think the ones where there's been a bereavement have been probably um, more memorable, really, because I think that is the time where someone really does need a helping hand and they just don't know where to turn, but they're also grieving and they're also processing, you know, those emotions of losing someone, let alone letting go of their things. So having someone with them who is calm, empathic, and practical with how we let go or how we save certain things. Um, yeah, there's a couple actually that come to mind, and they were just very rewarding experiences. And I still get messages from them now, you know, so that's lovely just to let me know that things are working and they feel like they can move on to the next chapter.
That's quite emotionally draining for you, I'm sure, as well, because you're not just like, even though the name is got organize in it, you're not just organizing. And I know
No,
you've said to me previously, you're not a counselor, you're not trained
yeah,
in that respect, but you're taking on a lot of
yeah.
emotional support. Does that get tiring and
It does get
draining?
tiring. Hence why if I drive home, or if I get on the train, I tend to sort of zone out, to be honest with you. Obviously I'm concentrating when I'm driving, but I just my family will know that I come home and I will just shower and I will probably go and sit in bed, or I will go and sit in my dressing room where I've got my desk and just be quiet, because that's how I kind of come back down, if that makes sense. Because I think in my job, I'm like that. I'm open to everything and solving. And, you know, I didn't realize that I had these superpowers really. And I'm so grateful that I have, because to see the rewards and what I've achieved or what I do for others, I need to kind of come back to Nicola again after doing that. So I'm very protective of how I kind of get back to normal, if there is such a thing
If
called
there's
normal.
such thing as not, indeed. And when, like, you know, clutter is something that everyone has to an extent. And I think, how do you manage? Because I know I do it. Like, the more the clutter's there, the more you look at it and it becomes like, oh, I'll do it later. And it becomes like a sort of burden. And you know, getting rid of it will release that burden, but it's like a weird psychology. How do you manage that?
Okay, well, obviously, when you start to look around and you're starting to see clutter, that's alarm bells, right? So straight away, for me, if I was to give advice to you, would be you haven't got a home for those items. That's why they're cluttering up your space. So I would take action for myself, and prioritize myself and think about where I would want those items to fit around in my home, and make space for them, create a home for them. And if I don't have space for them, I'd then have to reevaluate why I've got them and if they are important apart from the other things that are taking up space. Are they really important? Do I need to keep those? Should that replace them? That kind of mentality. Um, so yeah, clutter is an alarm bell for something that you don't have a home for, basically.
See, I'm a terrible hoarder. So, but then I look at stuff, and again, like if you were to come into my house, and actually probably my parents' house as well, because they complain there's all my stuff still there. But, and there's stuff in boxes I've not even opened for 30 years. But when I
Oh,
look at this stuff, there's a nostalgia to it, even if I look at it once every 20 years.
of
And
course.
how do you manage that? Because I'll never use it, but
Mm.
I sort of have that nice memory.
I generally think with sentimental items, we keep hold of them when because we feel like we still want that nice reminder. There's something holding us to that. And then there becomes a time when you release them. For example, it was only like 10 years ago I let go of all my school books. My
Mm.
mum had given me all my boxes when I moved out. I had something like 25 boxes. I was like, where are they going? Straight up in the loft. And I didn't have the time at that particular stage of my life because I was so busy working. Um, and it was only, yeah, about 10 years ago when we were decorating a space that we got all our stuff and just sort of looked at it fondly. I would say generally there were certain things I took photos of to remind myself, and there was maybe a box full I kept, but the rest I donated, or recycled, because I kind of lived it, and I don't necessarily need to keep looking back. I want to look forward.
Yeah.
My mindset is very much about forward focus, and I'm very grateful for my past and all the lessons I've learned and what I've encountered. And don't get me wrong, it is nice. Like in my home, I'm just looking around. I've got like little snippets of little things that I display from my past, mixed with, modern styling or things that are practical in our space. And that's what I think a home should be. If there is something like, if you've got like a old fashioned, do you remember those goggles, those 80s games that you used to play? You used to look
Yeah.
through them and play on the top. Um, One of my client had like about four of these types of the Nintendo, I can't think what they're called, game and play. They were like little things, and they all still worked. And I said, why are they in a box? I said, they should be out in your office somewhere, either on a shelf
Yeah.
or somewhere that when you've stopped doing what you're doing, this reminds you who you are. And it's going to bring a sense of excitement and joy, just like you experienced when you played them. That's why you've kept them.
So I have a house and I have a garage, and I've sorted my garage. I told you the other day, and it gave me such joy because it's now getting more organised. Not to your standard, but the more space I have, the more I fill it with stuff, which is not good. So I need like a bed sit somewhere at some point. So I
Mm.
have no choice but to get rid of stuff.
Can I just come back to your comment where you said it's organised not to your standard? It should be organised to your standard. I don't
No, it
actually
shouldn't.
care whose standards they are.
Mine are
I
very
think it
low.
should be everything in everyone's home should be organised to a degree that it works for your lifestyle. You've just mentioned a really important thing about that. You've already set a boundary with regards to your desk, keeping it a certain size because you're aware that you know you will go to fill that up. So that's really good. And I think you should remind yourself of those little small wins because that is protecting you from being something that you potentially don't want to be. In terms of all the other bits and pieces that you are maybe considering about, and it does become that way in an office. An office space at home is probably one of the most cluttered spaces because there's not a lot of respect for that space. It's kind of like it's just the office, whack it in there. Once you gain respect for a space, make it a bit more functional, make it not just an office space, make it something else as well as. Like for me, I've got mine, one half of mine is a dressing room, the other half is my workspace. And in order for me to work effectively and feel good about how I work in that space, is that it is tidy and it looks how I want it to look. So maybe the trick here with your office is maybe to incorporate something else, maybe another zone in that room that is something that you're going to enjoy, and that way you will protect that space.
And do you find then in, let's say, an office or whatever room, if it's organised, you can think more creatively or do the work you need to do? And does that help other people as well? Like when you walk in a room, does something shift? If it's organised and it's the way you want it, does something shift that you feel more calm or more creative?
Do you know what? It's a really good question because straight away that's come to my head is a couple of friends of mine. One's an actress and one's a journalist. And whenever I go into their workspace in their homes, they are very different workspaces to mine. There is post-its, there's paper, there's books everywhere, there's lots of stuff up on the walls, yet it's their happy place. So what is the definition of organisation is about storing the things or seeing the things that or the tools that aid you to be successful or happy. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to be clean, completely like no no items anywhere. It's just about just seeing the items that aid you in just doing what makes you thrive.
It's interesting because we had Ricky Wilson on the podcast and he was in his office, which I've been to many times, but it's just full of toys. People assumed it was his children's playroom, but it's just his toys from like the 80s toys or whatever. And they make him happy. And it's such a clutter, but it's an organised clutter.
Yeah.
But for me, I couldn't work in that.
But that's why it's so wicked to hear, because he is completely aware of what makes him happy, and he's actually, instead of them being in boxes, they're out. So he walks into that space and that fuels him. I've got a feeling, Dr. Craig, that you might end up emptying some of them boxes and your office space might be re-evolving this year.
I know. I'm going to be looking at that when I get home. So what you had, well, we'll talk about your background before This Girl Can Organise, but was there any, because you've talked about the help you've given to people, whether it's through, they've been grieving and they needed that help and all sorts of different things. And I'll talk some of the little things you've said to me just in passing that you probably didn't even realise that have really helped. But was there a moment that mattered to you? Like, is there something that's been sort of quite pivotal that led you down a different path or made you happy or something like that?
What, since This Girl Can Organise or in general?
Ever. Or that led you to where you are now?
Really good question. I think it might have been rejection. So rejection's a really good one, and it's been something I've had to overcome over the years. I remember being rejected, being made redundant when I was like 21. doing a job that I thought was amazing on a trading floor in London, and I was surrounded by what I thought was my people, but I was young and was just having fun. And that rejection taught me to that it was time to take ownership of me and to prioritize myself and to make sure that whenever I go into any kind of meeting or interview, that I've got to enjoy it as much as them. So it was kind of a pivotal moment, I think, for me, because I think like people pleasing and things like that is such a weird kind of encompass as a woman they naturally go to do. And that part of learning the rejection and then moving on into something else and having a bit more, I guess, sense of not just control but making it work for me was, yeah, a real pivotal moment, I think, at that age.
It's a young age to
It's quite a young,
realise that. But
yeah,
you're a positive person, I guess, anyway. Or would you describe yourself as that?
yeah. I mean,
But so you certainly seem
my
like.
mum and dad have always said ever since I was young, just been bouncing up and down and, been very happy and very, you know, you know, I guess just been that way really.
So when
Uh,
you went that rejection, some people may go negative, some people may take it as a sort of life lesson. What would you say to people who, because a lot of people inherently can be a bit more negative in the thinking and take it very personally. How do
yeah,
you
I mean,
flip that?
it is a trigger of mine. Like if I do get rejected, I do have to take myself, step back and process the whole rejection. But I've learned to do that over time. And I think that's my advice to anyone. If you're rejected for something that you wanted or something that you enjoyed, step back and don't actually make it too personal. And look at the bigger picture and think maybe I'm meant to be doing something else. Maybe I'm, yeah, meant to be focusing my energy and learning something new. And um, and enjoying the ride as well. Don't get so disheartened by it all. Like, I know that's a really easy comment to say when you're doing something or there's something that hasn't gone your way. But I always believe from past experiences that every time there has been some form of rejection in my life or my career, it's led me on to something amazing.
The wonderful
Not
closes.
straight away, but it has happened.
Yeah. And so the other sort of question we ask is like something under the surface, something people may not know about you. Which, yeah, go on. What do you think that might be?
Oh gosh, I think there's quite a lot, to be honest with you. I'm a very professional person, and I kind of like, well, we'll say one little thing. I could have been a ballerina. I actually
Okay.
auditioned twice for the Royal School of Ballet when I was really, really
Wow.
young. But let's get back up to adulthood. I think I think I am quite shy. Believe it or not, I am. I really kind of don't open up until I get to know people. I kind of survey and check out the scene first. I don't know if that's a true Capricorn state of mind, but yeah, I am relatively shy. When I'm in my zone or when I'm in a comfortable space, I'm very outgoing, um, extremely extroverted and happy, excitable. What else is there something that people don't know really about me? I think I can get really quiet. That's another thing. And I
Wow.
think again that's to do with energy because I love music on and I love dancing and I guess being around people. I'm actually someone that loves being around people. I feel like I get recharged. It's like when I go to a music concert or anything like that, I just feel like I'm like, right, she's ready. But I also do love my me time. I love me time and I love, you know, sort of switching off, like do not disturb outside the bathroom door, and having a long bath, listening to Sade, and or reading and closing my book up. All my kids have grown up with me going, Mummy's just having a couple of hours. I've
Wow.
got away with murder, really. But I do think it enables me to be my authentic self by doing that. And particularly now my job is very social and out there, I do it even more, because I think there is a certain level of expectation that people want to know everything about you. And because I'm quite a private, shy person, I've really struggled with that, kind of showing everything. So I like to show the real in my home. And when I show up, it is authentic, but I can't show 24 hours. I'd be absolutely exhausted.
But that's, well, a couple of things. One is, it's amazing, I guess, that you recognize that you need that time to recharge, because a lot of us don't. We just keep going, or we pretend because we're people pleasing, like you mentioned. Actually, that's detrimental longer
Yeah.
term. But you are so real. Like, you did these walks a while ago for charity, and you did one up in the northeast where I am. And the women that came along, because I think it was all women except for me.
Yeah.
They were genuinely delighted to meet you because they'd followed you or whatever, however they knew you. And you were so genuine with them, and as you are on your socials and other
Thank
things,
you.
which it comes across. People can just sense when someone isn't real.
I think so. I think it's a hidden agenda. Like for me, my agenda is to show up and help others, as well as showing a little bit of fun and like living your life, basically, as well as the me times and stuff. I don't, there's never been any reason for me to be someone else. Why would I want to be
But
someone else?
you tapped into something there where I can't remember how many women turned up, but it was a good number. And there was a real, most of them had come on their own, maybe with one
Yeah.
friend, and there was a real desire to meet up and just spend, it was a gorgeous day, and just
Yeah.
spend
Well,
time with other people. And you just tapped into this sort of need of
mm.
people to come together. And it was really nice.
Yeah, it is really nice. And I think it's about me, for me, it's so important because it was about meeting the community that follow, because I get the DMs and sometimes I'm like on a phone and it doesn't feel quite real sometimes, that I feel a bit like Shirley Valentine, sort of, instead of talking to a wall, I'm talking to this phone and I'm working by myself. And as a people, like, love being around people, it's very difficult sometimes to put them all together. So then when I do see people, if someone recognizes me when we're out and about, I absolutely go bananas. I think it's amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, you actually follow This Girl Can Organise. And they're like, yeah.
And they do genuinely love you. But
Yeah.
the other thing, like under the surface wise, which the guys who I work with were amazed, because so you've gone from ballerina of the future
Mhm.
to then like hyper creative, influencer. This girl can organize stuff. But in the middle, you had 18 years working in the city.
Yeah,
Was
investment
it
bank.
18 years? Yeah. Which honestly, I think people just couldn't place this energetic, empathetic, sort of loving life person with
In
a
that
big
world.
corporate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you change a lot? Were you still you, or did you feel less you, or?
Um, Gosh, I was thinking about this actually, at the end of last year, because I always do like a reflection at the end of each month and particularly at the end of the year. And I really take like personal reflection, sort of going through everything and things I've overcome, things that have made me happy and proud, and things, yeah, challenges and stuff. And but I did have a bit of a think about how different, because I think someone asked me about the city days, and that girl was, I was, well, she was here. What you see was inside, but it was very much suppressed, in that environment. That environment, I I didn't fit in. I didn't really, I guess, um, understand it really, if I'm honest with you. I felt like I had to be a chameleon to so many different people. Kind of wasn't people pleasing, definitely say chameleon, because I was telling them what they wanted to hear. I learned to be very good at that. And I think because that industry is very egotistical and it's all surrounded by, you know, a lot of narcissism and empowerment. I mean, that world does still fascinate me to watch. Um,
You just said ego testicle. Did you say that
testicle,
deliberately? Or was it
testicle,
like a thing
yeah.
to say it was very male
Well, it
dominant?
is very much that.
It's a good
You know,
word.
it's a man's world, that industry. And even though I'm so here for the girls doing really, really well in business, which I know that there's more of that now. But then there was moments that I did enjoy. But it was kind of, oh sorry, it was kind of a time in my life that aided me to get to the next stage.
Yeah. So you
I
don't
earned good
regret it.
money. I don't I don't regret it because I think it was part of my journey. If I'd have left, maybe I might not have started This Girl Can Organise and done something completely different. So I am grateful for it because there were ups and downs of it. Having to wear lots of grey,
Yeah.
navies, hairstyles as well, where like I looked like Hillary Clinton. In fact, I felt like I looked a lot older back then in my 30s and 40s because of conforming and the level, the position I got to in the bank was a sense of, you know, you have to act a certain way, you
It's
know.
just so funny because having got to know you, I
You
can't
can't
imagine you're conforming. Like, of all the words that are not you, it's conforming.
conforming was just, I think, I just conformed to the pay packet at the end of the day. But there was lessons learned, so many lessons learned, like traveling to work on the train stroke DLR into Canary Wharf. I would do all my weekly planning and I'd message people going, what we're doing at the weekend, what we're doing here, allocating the kids' arrangements, that power, I called it the power hour. And that's where I'd do all my planning organisation. I'd then be at my desk at 7 working. And there wasn't any time apart from maybe doing like a online food order for the week. I guess that's where I learned a lot more of my organisational skills because I had to, because we were both working and running a home and running a family, that we had to be organised.
You've been on my boat. We went out. It was in September a few years ago, but it was a gorgeous day. So
Yeah.
imagine we're on the boat and you get to throw something overboard. So it's something quite cathartic or a myth or something you just don't like and it sinks to the bottom, never to be seen again. What would that thing be?
Very, very easy answer. And it is trends. Absolutely can't stand them. And I think it's because I am a bit of a innovator. I love seeing individuality. I absolutely adore it. And as human beings, I think it's really important we share that in our homes, in how we dress and who we are. It excites me because I'm like, I want to get to know who that person is. They're interesting. Whereas trends make us all, again, conform. That's probably why I don't like them. It's the conforming bit. There we go.
Is there anything that epitomizes a bad trend to you? Like, what? Is there a recent one?
Oh, gosh. I find like fashion really quite dull, if I'm honest with you. Like when the trend fashion, like, for example, barrel jeans. They're not for everyone, but every brand has gone and done them. And everyone is wearing them, yet they don't suit everyone. And again, I just find it, again, like, why? What? Like, I don't understand it.
And
personally.
because then it leads to more clutter, because you go from trend to trend to trend.
Well, from a fashion perspective, yes, I have a real issue with that one, actually, because we all know that people buy to make sometimes to for a dopamine hit, to that whole retail therapy. And I've worked in so many homes and wardrobes where people have just bought into, oh, I saw it on this person and I saw it on this person. And I just would love to say to them all, it's lovely to get inspiration, but do you have space for that? Is it going to suit you? Is it something you'd actually go to buy? Or do you actually need it? Because this is where the problem is where people are over consuming and getting into debt, or getting too much clutter in their space, which is causing confusion. And they don't have the time. Half of them don't have the time to even return these items. So they just lay dormant, maybe in the corner of the wardrobe, or in a corner of a room, or under a chair or something, because they'll get round to it when they won't. So that's why I have a bit of a problem with trends.
Fair enough. Do you ever offer, like, because you organise for people after they've either gone through a trend or accumulated stuff, does anyone ever come to you in advance, like they feel the urge and they need to stop?
Yeah, well, I do virtual sessions as well. And that's generally when that happens, is that they can see something. It's generally beauty products or clothes that is the alarm bell for a lot of people. And I think that's because the beauty products as well is because bathrooms don't tend to have an enormous amount of storage in them. And yet, you know, beauty products are massively on the increase. And it's kind of one of those things that makes us feel good when we do them. I mean, I love my skincare and body care, but I've only got one cabinet. And when that cabinet is full, where else is it going to go? Once, soon as you've got it out, we go back to the whole, is there a home for that item? No. Then why have we got it? Something needs to go inside that space so I can put it there. And it's about, or for example, you have like a tray in your bathroom and you have maybe your daily essentials on it, so you can see them and use them. So it doesn't matter that they're out, because you need to see them. That's okay. You don't have to just put everything away in a cupboard. But what I'm trying to say is that when you start having too much stuff, too many products out and about, then it becomes overwhelming. And then what happens? It's like a ripple effect throughout the whole home. You kind of lose respect for that space. So then you go, oh, it doesn't matter about that. It doesn't matter there's clothes on the chairs. It doesn't matter that there's loads of coats on the banisters. It doesn't matter that there's shoes in that room, that room, that room. You kind of go, ugh,
Yeah,
about it
I mean,
all.
I do that a lot.
And it's really nice, I think, if you can try and respect your space. This is your nest. Imagine you're this little bird coming in, flying in back into your nest, and you just have had to deal with various, things throughout the day, ups and downs. Generally, you want to come in and relax, or you want to cook, you sleep, you want to clean. It's really simple. We actually strip it down. We're quite simple creatures.
Very simple.
We just overcomplicate things.
But the home thing, you said to me, because I was like, when my kids come in, they will just chuck the coats on the floor. They'll leave the shoes all over the place. And you said to me, well, can they reach the hangers to hang the coat up, the hooks? I was like, no. Is there somewhere for the shoes to go? I was like, no. So, but as soon as I've put up hooks and there's a little shoe thing and they can sit and put the shoes on, and it's like, they'll put them up. I mean, I'll be honest, not every time, but a lot more than they did before. And it was just giving it that home. And it's that kind of advice. And like I said before, you've said things that, and you probably said that, it was in passing. You might not remember that conversation, but it was 5 seconds that then has a big impact on the porchway being clean, and tidy, and then that transcends through the whole house. Because if one place, it's like you said, it can be a downward, where if little things are messy, then other things get messy. But if little things are clean and tidy, then that also can be a upward.
Yeah, it's all learned behaviour, Craig. Like, at the end of the day, like for the kids, you know, I saw that by working in a couple of schools, helping them at weekends get decluttered and organised. And I learned so much in that experience, that I learned that teachers, the teachers give the kids responsibility from reception. Put your stuff in your tray. It's got your name on it. Put your coat on your hook. It's got your name on it. Put your shoes by this section underneath your coat. They do it.
Yeah.
So if you want your kids to do the same at home, you've got to kind of make it a bit more easier for them and use the same methods that they do in the schools. You know, if you don't want to put their name, you can put a colour, give them a colour and say your colour red, and your yellow, or whatever it is. Make it fun. At the end of the day, children will really respond well to that, and it really has fantastic outlook. Actually, it's a kind of like you're all working together as a whole in that home, rather than it just being on one person's shoulders.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever found in someone's house?
I guess one of the weirdest things, I mean, teeth. Why do people keep kids' teeth?
Oh, kids' teeth. I thought you meant like adult. Like, I don't know.
No,
I didn't know what you meant.
Kids' teeth. I don't get that one. We come across it was actually in one of my clients' bedside drawers.
Yeah, I've got some.
He had them in like a clear little box, like a old pill box. That was impressive, because I actually remembered those old pill boxes. Do you remember the yellow ones with the screw lid?
Yeah.
Really old fashioned. And they were all in there.
How old were those teeth?
Oh, they were about well, she was in her 60s, 70s. So, gosh, yeah, probably 50 years old. Teeth.
What did she do with them?
I said, what on earth are you keeping these for? She went, I don't know. I've just always had them. I feel that responsibility as a mother. And I was like, okay, is this something that makes you feel like connected to them, or is it something that you're just doing because you're a mum? You're keeping it because you're a mum? And I said, I just want you to have a think about that. I can't tell her what to do. I would never tell anyone how to let go of something. It's their own personal choice. But yeah, later on in the afternoon, she just told me, she went, oh, by the way, I've thrown the teeth away.
It's a sentence you probably never thought you'd hear.
No, I was like, oh, congratulations.
If you had a day just for you and an admin day, what would you organise?
I'll tell you what I do really love to go through is my underwear drawer. I love to see that looking fantastic every morning. Because let's be honest, okay, wake up in the morning, we go to the bathroom, we do what we do, we get ready, showered and cleaned, and then we go to get dressed. I feel like that's the most important aspect of our day, is putting on the things that support us, right? So our underwear, our socks. And for me, opening up that drawer and seeing all my support, like cheering me on, what am I going to wear? I just think that is one of my favourite things to, like, admin, really keep on top of. I love doing it. I love enjoying doing that. The same applies to my linen cupboard. Have I showed you our linen cupboard?
No, strangely not, nor your underwear drawer.
No, I have actually. I show my underwear drawer quite a lot actually on social media. I find like I like tinkering in the spaces that aid us as a family. That is my life admin. Yeah, I think so.
When it comes to actually throwing stuff out, and I know you recycle or you reuse stuff or you
Yeah.
might give it to charity or whatever, but if you have to throw it out, do you see putting things in the bin as like a guilt trip or a triumph?
Mm. I don't particularly like to throw too much away, I'll be honest with you. Here's what I do, and here's what I recommend for anyone who feels the same. I have a system in all the kids' bedrooms and our bedrooms. So in the wardrobe, I have like a basket. So if we're ever going through stuff, things that we're not going to sell, we'll just put in this basket. So that's for donation. When the baskets are full, I bag them up. They go in our porch area, ready to go out the door. And I mean it, the porch area, I'm so protective of it. I think it's kind of like, I've never studied Feng Shui, but whenever I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. I put it there and it will either be actioned it definitely will be actioned in 24 hours, because walking into your front space, like your entrance, for me is so important to be clear and welcoming and smelling nice. So as I'm letting go, I put it in a space of respect because I know it's going to go.
What's the funniest or most obscure storage solution you can think of or you've seen?
I mean, I don't know if storage can be funny, but I think like I always adapt to certain things. So if I see like something that's come into the house, I think, oh, that would be really good storage. For example, like grape boxes are really good storage solutions for inside your fridge. So you can put them in, that annoying tray down at the bottom. You could
Yeah.
put them all in and you can just sort of sort out certain things, put them into that, just wash them, and that's free. I suppose that's a bit funny. Um, uh, oh, I'm very resourceful and practical when it
That's a
comes
good
to
one though.
with storage, and I just love to reuse. Like you think about some of the packaging. Like I'm very impressed, by the way, with your packaging. Now that you are completely like that annoying plastic, that waste
The
and everything.
blister packs, yeah.
Lots of supplements used to be in, and the same for medication. But now they're in that just lovely paper bag. It's just wonderful. I really do adore packaging that is sustainable and that can be reused, and it's built well so you can go to repurpose it.
We've got our beautiful Doctor Seaweed travel tins
Oh,
that I'm sure you must have one. Which of my products do you take? Here's a quick fire
I
question.
take the Focus Plus, I take Immunity, and I adore the chamomile tea bags.
With the tea.
They
Yeah,
are a taste sensation.
perfect. That's the
They
best
are.
answer so far, I have to say, of all your answers. And how do you, what other than organising and sorting and having that sense of, space being right, what else would you do to relax? What does Nic do to relax?
I love going out dancing. So I love house music and soul music. So I find relaxing is doing stuff like that. Again, it re-energizes me. I also love lolloping. I love just
Great
relaxing.
word.
Yeah, lolloping is such a great word. I love traveling. That really relaxes me. Oh my gosh, I love traveling. Um, from the airport, the plane. There are a few 101s actually at the airport, but they're I really enjoy, escaping and just discovering. So yeah,
And with Graham,
with Graham, with the girls, or with myself, I'm really happy to be, you know, I think one of my fondest memories is going to a place called the Body Camp, and I went by myself, and I loved the minute I got to the airport by myself on the plane, making my own decisions, my own choices, getting to that space, learning loads about myself, and then also learning about the importance of looking after me, setting up routines with regards to supplements, eating well, exercising, moving, sleeping, the importance of sleeping, and having fun. And yeah, that was yeah, I love it all. But yeah, I think I prefer going away by myself actually. But I do love going away with Graham. We are very, very similar, but I do love me time.
Good. What's next? What are any exciting plans you can tell us about? I know you've always got exciting things going on.
I've restructured my business. So even though I still go and help clients virtually and in person, I'm focusing now on kind of like midlife organisation, and also helping out the sandwich generation. So those of us that are looking after teens and looking after elderly parents. So I want to help aspects of all of that. So I want to help the parents. I want to help the fill-in, and I also want to help like the teens. So I'm working on that at the moment.
Excellent.
Yeah, which is really exciting, and in the process of writing another book, which is really, really good. And I'm really enjoying doing that at this particular moment in time because, as I say, we're wintering and it's really nice just to be still and have things come to me, really.
Perfect. Well, look, thank you so much. It's been amazing as always. You know, I love chatting to you.
Yeah, same.
Just to summarize, like key takeaways, if you think this is right, I think it's all about sort of small things, small steps. You know, so having a home for stuff, which is one that really resonates with me, and
Yeah.
then that sort of transcending round your whole house, and taking some time for yourself is really important. And I think for me, the biggest surprise about you that people may not see, because you're so full of energy, is actually you do need that time, just you and being quite quiet. And I guess mixing that introvert with extrovert is probably quite a surprise. So all those things are great, the little tips, but it's a bit of a reveal into your character that normalizes it for everyone else who probably has many of the same traits.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting. I've really enjoyed talking and actually airing some of those things out because I think it's sometimes we do keep them in our heads and sort of putting it out there makes me feel like, oh, okay, yeah, that is me. That is who I am. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy discovering more about myself actually. So thank
Oh,
you
good.
for
I'll
this. I've
send you
really
the
enjoyed
invoice for the psychiatry. Not a problem. Anytime. You've listened to my problems enough. But
Oh,
thank you again.